Gary Black laughs at Stephen Mark Ryan and then also actually calls him out. And this is where it all started. We'll go through every single tweet. The long-term lifetime revenue that you're targeting per vehicle is massive. So if you take that to the extreme, it would seem that you would be comfortable with a relatively low initial margin, said Rod on the last earnings call from Wolf Research. Elon replies and says, correct. That is exactly right. I can't emphasize enough the whole fundamental question of affordability. For most people, their ability to buy a car is a function of can they make the monthly payment or not. So, like I say, if interest rates are really high, like they are right now, then in some cases people can't even get a loan at all. So it doesn't matter that, let's say, an EV is cheaper to own over a long time, but if you can't get a loan, then it doesn't matter. You are by default buying a cheaper vehicle, and often these vehicles are internal combustion engine vehicles. I think probably banks are not leaning forward in providing loans, I expect these days, because of the banking crisis. So there's quite a powerful story here when you go back to something that was mentioned a moment ago. Tesla is in a uniquely strong strategic position because we are the only ones making cars that technically we could sell for zero profit for now, and then yield actually tremendous economics in the future through autonomy. And the most important thing, of course, is no one else right now can do that. I'm not sure how many people will appreciate the profundity of what I have just said, but it is extremely significant, and certainly Wall Street does not appreciate that at all. And just like anticipated, look at what Gary Black said here. Most investors I spoke with found this answer by Elon to be very concerning. Sell Teslas for zero profit now and then make it up in the future through autonomy. James here actually pokes at Gary Black a little bit as well. If you think Elon said Tesla's strategy going forward is to always sell our products at cost, meaning we will never make a profit ever in the future, you should listen to the earnings call again. Gary Black politely responds and says, that's not what I said, James. It's the thought that he might technically take prices down to where he would sell EVs at no profit and then make it up by selling autonomy and other services is a feature that concerned investors. And I understand where Gary Black is coming from. How do you model something that hasn't happened yet? Except when you really think about it, we have been through so many technological revolutions, mini revolutions, and full self-driving is going to be just another one of those. It's really in Tesla's DNA to be in this constant never-ending startup mode and to focus on exponential growth by looking at other possible ways of expanding the business massively again and again and again and again. And this is where Steven jumps into the conversation. First, it starts a little slow, and then the heat, the temperature increases. For what it's worth, this will be unnecessary, meaning to sell vehicles at no profit at all. It was a statement of philosophy. In a 0.1% recession, a fall recession scenario, Tesla will continue scaling at max speed rather than slow down, which runs directly counter to their publicly stated mission, and thus sell at whatever price necessary. Because Tesla sells every single vehicle that it produces, but the question is, at what price? If that price needs to come down a whole lot lower, so be it. And that is a scary thought, says Gary Black, to many investors because the wounds are self-inflicted. Tesla's strategy of increasing production at a much faster rate than deliveries is causing Tesla to have to discount to achieve a clearing price for our vehicle production. And I like how Gary posts a screenshot of a transcript from one of the earnings calls. Gotta give it to Gary Black for doing that, but I have to really push back against Gary Black here, very respectfully, of course. If you think about it very long term, At what prices will Tesla eventually sell the Model 3 and the Model Y? Why wait until we actually get the costs down and only then reduce the prices? If we can reduce these prices now, which will get us to economies of scale faster, meaning the actual cost reductions will happen faster, duh. And that also prevents competition from scaling faster because Tesla's huge profits are competition's opportunity. I am all for scaling, but not for scaling our competition's production. Steven replies to Gary, scary only to short-term and short-sighted investors and those managing money for others and being judged on short-term performance. Steven just took a shot at Gary here. The temperature has risen once again. Everyone will have forgotten about this in a few years except those who panic sold and are then wallowing in regret. All of that actually reminds me of someone just sold 30% of his Tesla stock shares. Here's Ross saying, I know, at the time it jumped from $30 to like $85 quickly, and I like making money, so I sold half. Then I sold more at $180. Anyways, the other parts of my portfolio have done very well too, but did it do as well as Tesla? Because this is from 2020. I also went ahead and translated that tweet to account for the splits, and here's how it reads today. I know at the time it jumps from like $2 to $5.67 quickly, and I like making money, so I sold half. Although Tesla stock today is trading at about $160 roughly. Then I sold more at $12. $12! If Ross kept that stock, it would be 10 times more today. Anyways, the other parts of my portfolio have done very well too. But yes, it's annoying. I don't spend a lot of time with what ifs. I've done okay. Tesla stock was trading at about $30 per share. Then Ross tweeted that. I think this is who Steven was talking about. Panic sell and then wallow in regret. And this is where Gary laughs at Steven. Funny you refer to Wall Street as short-sighted because they object to Tesla's use of discounting, which is a short-term tool to stimulate demand. Yes, that's right. Gary Black just called Steven indirectly a short-term thinker. Just like Steven called Gary also indirectly a short-term thinker. Contrast this to launching a $25,000 vehicle which expands the total addressable market and drives long-term affordability, or advertising which has long-term return on investment. Then Steven continues actually very politely. He even added a nice emoji at the end here. Tesla's Mexico factory is underway and will build this $25,000 vehicle and massively expand the total addressable market. First vehicles will probably roll off the lines in 2025, maybe even in 2024. It's 2023 now. All of this stock is over a 2-year window of time between now and then, practically a millisecond. But to that, Gary has a pretty strong answer. He really calls Steven out. He says, where were you 18 to 24 months ago when Wall Street was advocating that Tesla launch a $25,000 subcompact to expand Tesla's total addressable market and drive affordability? There is some pushback against Gary here still though. The sub $25,000 vehicle has been in the plan from day one. Why do you keep suggesting it is your or Wall Street's idea, says Ryan Church. Gary responds, because someone named Elon Musk said this on the Tesla earnings call. This is January of last year. Well, we are not currently working on the $25,000 car, says Elon Musk. At some point we will, but we have enough on our plate right now, too much on our plates, frankly. At some point, there will be a cheaper vehicle, but Elon insisted that the more important question is, when will full self-driving be solved? But you also have to go back to that time and remember how crazy the supply chain shocks were. when we were doing a renovation for one of our businesses, we couldn't get anything. We had to wait for months and months and months and months. And Tesla still was able to grow quickly. Tesla was able to rewrite a lot of the software and use different kinds of chips. And that's one of the reasons why Tesla was still able to grow through these pains. If Tesla focused on a new model back then probably everything would have been slower. And also, there were limited batteries available. If you have to put roughly a similar amount of batteries into two vehicles, but one vehicle makes you twice as much in profit, and the other, maybe you use 30% less batteries, but you make a lot less in profits, it doesn't make sense to focus on that cheaper vehicle. It would have been nice if Tesla already got a cheaper vehicle out, but the Model 3 and the Model Y, still there are so many ways to lower the costs. These vehicles are not even getting the front and the rear gigacastings. For example, in Texas, yes, the Model Ys get both the front and the rear castings, but in Fremont and Shanghai, no, they do not. In Shanghai, they only do the rear with a gigacasting machine, which also, by the way, implies if for some reason we do go through a terribly, terrible recession, and then even price cuts can't help sell all of the vehicles, Tesla could shut down factories, upgrade them, reopen them, and how much better margins. I respect both Steven and Gary. On this one, I am with Steven. I think Gary does not believe in full self-driving at all, and I think it is wise to actually assign at least some chance of full self-driving being sold by Tesla, where Tesla capitalizes on that very well and makes a lot of money from it. I don't think Gary is giving it a high chance, or even if there's any chance really realistically. I think he just models it as a driver's assist system, but not as robotaxi. And this video explains why the Tesla board is not buying more Tesla stock. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.